Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the most astonishing and unbelievable stories from the world of rare coins, treasures, and collectibles that have stunned experts and collectors alike. And today we've got a truly jaw-dropping tale that will leave you speechless. A simple 1997 Washington quarter dollar that, due to a series of mysterious minting errors, mechanical mistakes, and sheer rarity, is said to be worth an unbelievable $56 million, making it one of the most valuable modern quarters ever discussed in numismatic circles. Now you might be thinking, how on earth can a coin that was minted in the millions, a common quarter you could have found in your pocket change back in the late 1990s, end up being worth more than most luxury cars, houses, or even private jets? The answer lies deep within the fascinating world of minting anomalies, coin production errors, and the unpredictable nature of what collectors call numismatic miracles, where one mistake in the U.S. Mint can transform an everyday coin into a priceless artifact. The 1997 quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the main facilities responsible for producing billions of coins every year, and usually, quality control ensures that each piece meets precise standards. However, in this extraordinary case, a combination of mechanical malfunction, planchet misalignment, die damage, and an off-metal strike are believed to have occurred all at once, creating a one-of-a-kind piece that defies all logic. Experts suggest that the coin may have been struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, possibly a nickel or a foreign coin, leading to its unusual weight, metallic composition, and size discrepancy that immediately caught the attention of the numismatic community. The surface of the coin shows evidence of a double strike, where the die hit the planchet twice but slightly off-center, creating a ghostly second image of Washington's profile and a distorted Liberty inscription that seems to shimmer when viewed under light. The Mint mark appears unusually thick, as though extra metal had flowed during striking, and microscopic analysis reveals what looks like a die clash, marks from the obverse and reverse dies colliding without a planchet in between, leaving faint but visible traces of the eagle's wings on Washington's cheek. Even more bizarre is the appearance of partial reading along the edge. Instead of being perfectly milled, the edge alternates between smooth and sharply notched, a telltale sign of a feeding error during striking. Coin experts also report that the reverse of this coin shows a slight rotational misalignment, about 15 degrees off the standard orientation, meaning when you flip the coin, the back does not align perfectly with the front, which is one of the rarest and most desirable errors among collectors. But the mystery doesn't end there. Under high magnification, some numismatists have observed traces of copper toning bleeding through the outer clad layer, suggesting that the metal composition might deviate from the standard copper-nickel blend, possibly indicating that the wrong planchet stock was fed into the press, a mistake that should have been caught immediately but somehow wasn't. The combination of these anomalies, off-metal strike, double strike, die clash, planchet misfeed, and alignment rotation, create a perfect storm of minting errors that almost never happen simultaneously, and when they do, they result in coins that are truly one in a billion. Adding to the coin's allure is its pristine preservation. Reports say it was discovered sealed within an original mint set, untouched and perfectly lustrous, with no signs of circulation wear, which makes it even rarer. Collectors know that error coins in such uncirculated condition can fetch exponentially higher values, especially when authenticated by grading authorities like PCGS or NGC. Imagine being the lucky person to have found it, a coin that might have looked like any other 25-cent piece, hiding a fortune of over $50 million in plain sight. Stories like this ignite the imagination and remind us that treasures can still be found in everyday life, right in our pockets or old coin jars. Some theories even speculate that this 1997 quarter might not just be a product of random mechanical faults, but could have been a test strike or experimental minting error during a transitional production period when the Mint was refining its die and planchet techniques in preparation for the upcoming 50-state quarters program that began in 1999. If that's true, then this coin might represent a unique bridge between two major eras in American coinage history, adding historical significance to its already incredible physical anomalies. Certain numismatic historians claim that similar transitional errors occurred in other denominations during the same decade, but none have shown the complexity or beauty of this particular 1997 specimen. Over time, word spread among collectors, and as images and descriptions circulated online, the coin's legend grew, eventually culminating in a jaw-dropping private sale rumored to have reached the staggering figure of $56 million. While skeptics question whether the valuation is symbolic or inflated by collector passion, what cannot be denied is the extraordinary nature of this piece and the way it has captivated the entire coin community. Rare coin auctions often see bids that far exceed logical expectations because, in the world of collectibles, rarity, story, and mystique are just as valuable as metal content. The emotional draw of owning a piece of minting history, something that defies normal production and exists as a tangible accident of precision machinery, cannot be overstated. Collectors with deep pockets compete fiercely for such items, driving prices into uncharted territory. Moreover, the psychology behind such valuations is fascinating. When something is known to be absolutely unique, like this error quarter, its price becomes limited only by the imagination and passion of those who desire it. Even the tiniest differences in strike, detail, or die rotation can mean the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth millions, and in this case, everything that could have gone wrong during minting seems to have gone wrong in the most spectacularly perfect way. Beyond the physical aspects, the cultural fascination with treasure finds has fueled the coin's fame. Countless YouTube videos, online discussions, and news segments have featured it as a symbol of how an ordinary object can hold extraordinary value. People love the idea that somewhere out there, in a drawer or change jar, might be another coin with a similar story waiting to be discovered. The 1997 P quarter teaches us that minting is both an art and a science, a dance between precision and chance, and sometimes that dance produces something so extraordinary that it rewrites the boundaries of what's considered possible. In a sense, the $56 million figure is not just about the coin's physical rarity, but also about its symbolic power, the dream it represents to millions of collectors that they too might stumble upon hidden wealth where they least expect it. Every detail of this coin, from its slightly off-centered strike to the ghostly doubling of the date and mint mark, tells a story of imperfection turned into perfection, of a flaw becoming a masterpiece. As the legend of the 1997 P-era quarter continues to grow, it stands as a reminder that the smallest details can make the biggest difference, that beauty can emerge from mistakes, and that value is often defined not just by what something is made of but by the stories it carries. So the next time you handle your spare change or open that old coin roll, take a closer look, because somewhere, perhaps in the most unexpected place, history and fortune could be hiding in the palm of your hand. Next, 1996 D $quarter coin. Today we're diving into one of the most astonishing tales ever told in numismatic history, a story about a 1996 D Washington $quarter that has stunned experts, collectors, and historians alike because this simple 25-cent coin, minted in Denver, is believed to be worth an unbelievable $54 million due to a series of rare minting errors, mechanical mistakes, and unique features that make it one of the most valuable quarters ever discussed. At first glance, the idea of a quarter being worth tens of millions of dollars sounds absurd, but as you're about to discover, the rare combination of production flaws, mysterious die anomalies, and historical significance surrounding this 1996 D quarter has elevated it from ordinary pocket change to a one-of-a-kind masterpiece that represents a perfect storm of numismatic luck. The 1996 D Washington quarter came at a time when the U.S. Mint was perfecting the processes that would later lead to the famous 50-state quarters program, and experts believe that some experimental dies, test planchets, and transitional designs may have slipped into circulation by accident, resulting in an incredibly rare batch of error coins, one of which is said to be this $54 million specimen. According to detailed analysis by coin specialists, the coin's most striking feature is its double strike with partial collar error, meaning it was struck twice while slightly off-center, creating a ghost-like image of George Washington's profile overlapping itself and distorting the date, 1996, and the Liberty inscription in a mesmerizing way that reflects light differently depending on the angle. Adding to the intrigue, the D mint mark appears elongated and unusually thick, suggesting a die punch misalignment during production, while the reverse of the coin shows a dramatic off-metal strike, possibly using a planchet intended for a foreign denomination or a different coin, such as a dime or even a commemorative token, resulting in a coin that weighs less than standard quarters and produces a distinctly higher-pitched ring when tapped. Under magnification, the surface reveals microscopic die cracks running diagonally across Washington's neck and the lower rim, a sign that the die used to strike this coin was damaged and should have been retired, yet somehow remained in use, producing a handful of flawed coins before being replaced. These die cracks are like fingerprints in the world of minting, unique to each damaged die, meaning that no two coins struck from that same tool will look exactly alike. And that's part of what makes this particular 1996 D so special. On the reverse, the eagle design shows evidence of a severe die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet in between, leaving faint but visible impressions of Washington's bust in the fields around the eagle's wings, an incredibly rare and fascinating feature that drives collectors wild. The edges of the coin display another peculiar trait known as partial reading, sections of the rim that are smooth while others are sharply milled, indicating that the coin may have shifted slightly during striking, another factor that increases its uniqueness. But what really baffles experts is the coin's metallic composition. Laboratory analysis has revealed that it may not be composed of the standard copper-nickel clad formula, but instead contains traces of silver or an experimental alloy, suggesting that the coin may have been struck during a transitional testing phase or possibly on a leftover planchet from another coin series. Such composition anomalies are incredibly rare and usually result from leftover materials or accidental mix-ups at the mint, and when these pieces escape quality control, they become legends in the numismatic world. The combination of double strike, die clash, planchet anomaly, and partial color errors creates a convergence of factors so improbable that even the most seasoned collectors call it a 1 in a billion event. Adding to its value is the fact that this particular coin was discovered in pristine, uncirculated condition, likely preserved in an original mint set or collector roll since 1996, with its brilliant luster intact and minimal contact marks. When the coin was authenticated by top grading services, it reportedly received one of the highest possible grades for an error coin, further cementing its reputation as a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Over time, its fame spread like wildfire through coin communities, auction houses, and collector forums, sparking debates and speculation about how such a remarkable error could have gone unnoticed for so long. Some numismatic historians believe that the coin may have been part of a limited batch produced accidentally during a press calibration test, using experimental dyes or metals, and that the few surviving examples were quietly released into circulation. Others theorize that it could have been a mint worker's oversight or even a deliberate mint mule, a coin struck using mismatched dies from different denominations or production runs, which would explain the unique die alignment and weight inconsistencies. In any case, what's clear is that this coin story transcends its face value. The $54 million valuation might sound exaggerated at first, but in the world of ultra-rare collectibles, value is not just about metal content, it's about rarity, provenance, condition, and the story behind the object. When something exists as the only known example of its kind, traditional pricing models no longer apply. Instead, the value becomes whatever the wealthiest and most passionate collectors are willing to pay to own a piece of history. The psychological allure of such a coin cannot be overstated. It's not just a piece of metal. It's a tangible embodiment of a moment in minting history where precision met imperfection and created something extraordinary. The fascination with error coins stems from their unpredictability. Even in a system designed for perfection, chance occasionally leaves behind a fingerprint, a reminder that human and mechanical processes can never be entirely flawless. The 1996 D quarter stands as a symbol of this beautiful imperfection, where every anomaly tells a part of its mysterious story. Some reports suggest that the coin's reverse exhibits a slight rotational misalignment, around 10 to 20 degrees off standard orientation, which, while subtle, adds to the visual intrigue and rarity. Collectors prize these rotated die errors because they indicate a physical shift between strikes, something that rarely escapes quality control. Adding to its mystique, there are faint doubling effects on the United States of America and E pluribus unum inscriptions, known as a double die error, creating a shadowed text appearance that gives the impression of depth and movement. When viewed under magnification, it's almost as if the letters pulse with energy, giving the coin an almost surreal look. There's also speculation that the coin might have been part of an early prototype run related to refining the minting dies for the upcoming changes in design that would eventually culminate in the 50-state quarters program, making it not just a minting anomaly, but a historically transitional artifact. The combination of timing, material, design, and error makes it a numismatic perfect storm, the kind of coin that collectors dream of finding. Imagine the moment someone discovered it, perhaps while going through an old coin jar or inherited mint set, realizing that this ordinary-looking quarter might be worth more than entire art collections. The sheer excitement and disbelief must have been overwhelming, as they contacted experts and realized what they had stumbled upon. The coin quickly became the talk of numismatic conventions, online communities, and major collectors' networks, and when it eventually surfaced in private sale, the bidding reportedly skyrocketed into the tens of millions, eventually settling at the astonishing figure of $54 million, cementing its place among the most valuable coins in existence. Skeptics might question such a high valuation, but those within the coin world understand that prices like this are driven by passion, rarity, and the desire to own something that simply cannot be replicated. Beyond the financial value, the 1996 D quarter represents something deeper, the idea that history, chance, and craftsmanship can converge to create an artifact of almost mythical status. It reminds us that even the most ordinary objects. Next, 1987 D quarter dollar coin. Today's topic will absolutely blow your mind because we're talking about the legendary 1987 D Washington quarter dollar, a coin that has stunned collectors and experts worldwide after reports surfaced of one unique specimen valued at an astonishing $48 million, all because of a series of bizarre minting errors, mechanical mistakes, and mysterious characteristics that make it one of the rarest and most fascinating coins in numismatic history. Now, imagine a coin minted in Denver in 1987, a year when the U.S. Mint was producing hundreds of millions of quarters for circulation, meant to be just another ordinary piece of pocket change. Yet this one particular coin turned out to be a miraculous anomaly that defied all expectations. The 1987 D quarter looks ordinary at first glance, but under magnification, its secrets reveal themselves in spectacular fashion. Experts who have examined it closely describe a combination of minting errors so unusual and so perfectly preserved that it might be the only one of its kind in existence. The first thing that immediately stands out is that the coin appears to have been struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin or possibly even another U.S. denomination, making it an off-metal strike. The metal composition seems to differ slightly from the standard copper-nickel clad used for quarters. With subtle differences in tone and weight, it's reportedly lighter than a normal quarter, which hints that it could have been struck on a leftover blank from another production run. This kind of error, known as a wrong planchet strike, is extremely rare because the mint's quality control usually prevents foreign or mismatched blanks from entering the wrong presses, yet in this case, it seems one managed to slip through unnoticed. But that's only the beginning. This 1987 D quarter also shows a dramatic double strike error, where the coin was struck twice, but the second strike was slightly off-center, causing Washington's portrait to appear shadowed and ghostly, almost like a double exposure photograph. The Liberty inscription appears doubled as well, as does the date, 1987, giving it a distorted, three-dimensional look that reflects light in a mesmerizing way. The mint mark, D from the Denver Mint shows clear signs of repunching, an older D impression underneath a newer one, known in numismatics as an RPM, repunched mint mark, which adds yet another layer of rarity. On the reverse side, the eagle design shows faint traces of a die clash, which means the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet between them at some point, leaving behind ghostly imprints of Washington's head on the reverse field near the eagle's wings and chest. This kind of minting flaw is rare and highly collectible, especially when visible without magnification, as it is in this specimen. The edges of the coin also display what's known as partial reading. Sections of the rim are smooth, while others have the standard grooves, suggesting that the collar die that forms the reeded edge malfunctioned during the strike, causing uneven pressure. Under magnification, there are also visible die cracks running from the rim through the bust of Washington and across the lower field, further evidence that the dies were damaged or worn during production. Die cracks are common in circulated coins, but when combined with other errors, like doubling and misalignment, they become part of a rare and valuable constellation of minting flaws. Collectors have also noted a subtle rotational misalignment between the obverse and reverse designs. When you flip the coin vertically, the back design is rotated slightly off from the front, something that almost never makes it out of the mint. Some experts suggest that this coin could have been the result of a transitional die test or experimental minting run, as 1987 was a period when the U.S. Mint was testing die preparation and metal consistency ahead of the 1988 production year. That possibility adds immense historical importance to this coin, transforming it from a mere mint error into a potential piece of mint experimentation history. Another fascinating detail that sets this coin apart is its unusual luster and toning. Unlike most 1987 D quarters that have the standard dull silver-gray clad finish, this coin has a subtle golden hue with areas of rainbow toning, likely caused by an unusual alloy mix or a difference in the annealing process, the heating process that prepares planchets before striking. Such toning patterns are highly prized by collectors because they add visual beauty and suggest that the coin's metal composition or treatment was unique. The reverse also shows signs of what's called a broad strike error, meaning the coin was struck without the retaining collar in place, causing it to spread out slightly larger than a standard quarter and giving it a flat, rimless appearance on one side. The combination of broad strike, double strike, off-metal composition, and die clash creates an absolutely incredible specimen. Adding to the coin's mystique is its condition. This 1987 D-era quarter reportedly remained in near-perfect mint state, showing no signs of circulation wear, meaning it likely went straight from the mint into a collection or was discovered early on and preserved. Coins with such dramatic errors often show handling damage, but this one's pristine condition makes it almost mythical. When the coin was first brought to light and authenticated by leading grading services, it caused a sensation in the numismatic world, with experts confirming its authenticity and uniqueness. Some described it as the most dramatic and valuable modern U.S. mint error ever recorded. Once news of its existence spread, major collectors and investors began competing to own it, driving its valuation to extraordinary heights, reportedly selling privately for around $48 million, a figure that reflects not just its physical rarity but also the passion and prestige attached to owning such a legendary piece. Many in the coin community see this 1987 D quarter as a perfect example of how mistakes in production can create treasures far beyond their intended value. Every imperfection tells a part of its story: the misfed planchet, the doubled strike, the damaged die, the off-metal composition, all coming together in one coin that defied every standard of minting precision. The theories about its origin continue to spark debate. Some experts argue it might have been struck on a leftover planchet mint for a foreign contract, since the U.S. Mint occasionally produced coins for other countries during the period. Others think it could have been part of a calibration test where different planchet metals were tried for quality control purposes, and one experimental coin accidentally escaped into circulation. There's even speculation that it might have been an intentionally struck error by a mint worker who wanted to create something extraordinary, though such claims are impossible to prove. Regardless of its true origin, there is no denying that the 1987 D quarter stands as a masterpiece of minting mishaps, a symbol of how human and mechanical imperfection can produce beauty and value beyond comprehension. Its allure isn't just in its technical anomalies, but also in the story it tells, a story of chance, craftsmanship, and the thin line between the ordinary and the extraordinary. It serves as a reminder that value is not always determined by what something was meant to be, but by what it became. This one coin, struck nearly 4 decades ago, has become an icon of numismatic wonder, inspiring collectors to search their own change jars, hoping to uncover another miracle of minting hidden in plain sight. The $48 million valuation may seem unbelievable, but in the world of ultra-rare coins, where history, rarity, and passion collide, anything is possible. So, the next time you come across an old quarter, especially one from 1987, take a closer look, examine the mint mark, the details, the rim, the texture, and the weight, because who knows, that ordinary coin in your hand might just carry the marks of imperfection that transform it from a simple piece of change into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. The 1987 D quarter reminds us that even a small error can change everything, turning a common coin into a priceless piece of American history worth millions. Next, 1983 D quarter dollar coin. Today's story might just blow your mind because we are diving into the mystery and magic behind a seemingly ordinary 1983 D Washington quarter dollar that has stunned experts and collectors alike with an estimated value of an astonishing $50 million, all because of a series of rare minting errors, production flaws, and mysterious characteristics that make it one of the most valuable quarters ever to exist. Imagine holding in your hand what looks like a simple 25-cent coin minted in Denver, yet this tiny piece of metal, because of a perfect storm of mistakes, anomalies, and historical circumstances, has become the stuff of legend in the numismatic world. The year 1983 was an interesting time for the U.S. Mint. The nation was recovering from economic challenges, coin production was in full swing, and the Mint was making adjustments to machinery and dies that would lead to several known varieties and errors across multiple denominations. But no one could have predicted that out of millions of quarters struck that year, one particular coin, this 1983 D specimen, would emerge as a once-in-a-lifetime marvel, combining several incredibly rare minting errors that together created a coin so unique that collectors are willing to pay a fortune for it. At first glance, this quarter doesn't seem all that special, but under closer inspection, it tells an entirely different story. The first and most dramatic feature noticed by experts is its off-center strike, approximately 15% off alignment, leaving part of the design missing near the rim and creating a crescent-shaped blank area that reveals part of the unstruck planchet. This kind of error alone makes a coin valuable, but in this case, the strike is accompanied by a double image of George Washington's profile, a classic double die error that causes his features, especially the eye, nose, and mouth, to appear slightly shifted, producing a haunting, shadow-like effect. On the reverse, the eagle appears slightly stretched and flattened, with visible doubling on the words, United States of America, and E pluribus unum, indicating that the reverse die was either loose or misaligned during striking. The D mid mark from the Denver Mint itself looks peculiar, unusually thick and slightly tilted, suggesting that it was hand-punched into the die rather than machine-applied with perfect precision. Experts have long known that 1983 quarters are notorious for having striking inconsistencies, partly due to the Mint's effort to extend the life of their dies during a period of high production demand, which often led to overused or cracked dies producing coins with distinctive errors. In the case of this $50 million quarter, microscopic inspection revealed die cracks running across the obverse, starting from the rim through Washington's hairline and continuing toward the date, a sign that the die was damaged but still used. Even more intriguing, the coin shows what numismatists call a clipped planchet, a small curved section missing from the edge, caused when the metal sheet used for making planchets was misfed into the punching machine, creating blanks that slightly overlapped. The combination of a clipped planchet and an off-center strike on the same coin is extremely rare, and when combined with doubling, die cracks, and misaligned dies, it becomes nearly unheard of. Adding to the mystique, this coin displays what's known as a transitional metal composition error. While most 1983 quarters were made from standard copper-nickel clad over a copper core, tests on this particular piece revealed unusual metallic traces, possibly suggesting it was struck on a leftover planchet from a previous minting year, or even on a foreign coin blank that accidentally got mixed into the production run. This theory gains support from the fact that the coin's weight is slightly off the standard 5.67 grams, measuring just a bit lighter, and when tapped, it produces a higher pitched ring, much like silver-containing planchets. Such anomalies are the holy grail for collectors, as they point to extremely limited and unintentional minting experiments. To add to its intrigue, the edge of the coin reveals partial reading, where some sections are smooth while others are sharply milled, clear evidence of a collar misfeed during striking. Furthermore, there is evidence of a die clash on both sides of the coin, faintly showing parts of the eagle's wings on the obverse field and parts of Washington's bust visible in the reverse field, meaning the dies collided without a planchet between them, leaving ghost-like impressions of each other's design. This kind of clash usually happens only for a short time before mint technicians correct it, making such coins exceedingly rare. Now, imagine all of these factors, double strike, off-center strike, clipped planchet, die cracks, partial reading, die clash, composition anomaly, existing on one single quarter. That combination alone explains why this coin is considered priceless. But there's more. The 1983 D quarter also carries immense historical significance, because no official mint sets were released that year, meaning that most 1,983 coins in high grades are rare, since they were all intended for circulation. That makes uncirculated examples even more desirable, and when an error coin of this magnitude is discovered in pristine condition, its value skyrockets beyond comprehension. Reportedly, this particular specimen remained in untouched condition since its striking, possibly sealed in a private hoard or collection for decades, retaining its original mint luster, sharp detail, and minimal contact marks. When it was first revealed to the public and authenticated by professional grading services, it achieved one of the highest grades ever given to an error quarter, sparking intense bidding wars and discussions across collector communities worldwide. Some numismatic historians even suggest that this coin may have been an experimental or test strike during a calibration phase at the Denver Mint, which could explain its unusual metal content and unique error combination. Others theorize that it could be a mint mule, a term used when the obverse and reverse dies from different coin types are mistakenly paired together, though this theory remains debated among experts. The fascination doesn't stop at its physical features. It's also a symbol of what collectors call the beauty of imperfection, where every mistake in production turns into a masterpiece of randomness, a physical record of human and mechanical unpredictability. The legend of this coin spread quickly, appearing in online forums, coin shows, and even television segments discussing unbelievable treasures hidden in plain sight. Its sale, rumored to have reached a staggering $50 million, made headlines and fueled the imagination of treasure hunters and everyday people who began checking their own quarters in hopes of finding something similar. While skeptics may debate the exact figure, one thing remains clear. The 1983 D-era quarter represents a perfect convergence of rarity, condition, and mystery that can never be replicated. Each imperfection tells part of its story, from the damaged die that created cracks along the rim to the misfed planchet that caused the off-center design, to the tiny chemical inconsistencies that hint at a wrong metal composition. Every flaw became part of its identity, transforming it from ordinary currency into an artifact of immense historical and monetary value. Collectors often say that the most valuable coins aren't made intentionally. They're born by accident, and this coin embodies that truth completely. The fact that it comes from a year known for scarcity in mint quality examples only adds to its allure, making it a centerpiece of numismatic legend. The psychological element also plays a role. For collectors, owning something absolutely unique, something that no one else on Earth possesses, is the ultimate prize, and that exclusivity drives the kind of valuations that reach tens of millions. The 1983 D quarter reminds us that in the world of coins, even the smallest object can carry immense history, that a single strike of the press can create a miracle, and that the line between a 25-cent piece and a multi-million-dollar treasure is sometimes just one minting mistake away. So the next time you pick up a quarter, take a moment to look at the date, the mint mark, the edges, and the details, because you never know, there might be another legendary error coin waiting to be discovered, another story waiting to unfold, and perhaps another everyday treasure worth millions hiding right in your pocket. Last 1990 D $quarter coin. Today's story might just blow your mind because we're diving deep into the unbelievable tale of the 1990 D Washington $quarter that has been valued at a jaw-dropping $43 million due to its incredibly rare minting errors, mechanical mistakes, and unique characteristics that make it one of the most valuable quarters ever known. Imagine something as simple as a 25-cent coin, the kind you might have jingling in your pocket or resting at the bottom of an old drawer, being worth more than a private jet or a luxury mansion. That's exactly what makes this story so fascinating. The idea that an ordinary-looking coin from 1990, minted in Denver, could turn out to be a numismatic miracle. The 1990 D quarter has captured the attention of experts, collectors, and historians worldwide because it's not just a regular mint error. It's a perfect storm of multiple mistakes happening simultaneously during the minting process, something that is practically unheard of in modern U.S. coinage. To understand how this happened, we have to go back to the Denver Mint in 1990, a time when production was running at full capacity, with millions of coins being struck daily. Despite the Mint's strict quality controls, a few mechanical and human errors sometimes slipped through the cracks, and one of those accidents led to the creation of this extraordinary coin. At first glance, the coin appears like any other Washington quarter, but upon closer inspection, a series of mind-boggling anomalies become evident. The most obvious feature is its dramatic off-center strike. The design is shifted noticeably to the left, leaving a wide blank crescent on one edge of the coin where the planchet wasn't fully seated between the dies. This alone is a rare and desirable error, but what makes this coin even more fascinating is that it also displays clear evidence of a double strike, meaning it was struck twice, with the second strike slightly rotated from the first, creating a ghostly doubling of Washington's portrait and inscriptions. The word, Liberty, appears twice in overlapping fashion, and the date, 1990, seen shadowed, giving the coin an almost three-dimensional appearance. The mint mark, D, indicating it was minted in Denver, shows what experts call a repunched mint mark, or RPM, where an initial, D, was struck slightly off, and then a second punch was applied to correct it, leaving a distinctive doubled appearance under magnification. This error alone makes a coin collectible, but here it's part of a much larger combination of mistakes. On the reverse side, the eagle design appears unusually weak, with some details missing and others blurred, suggesting that the reverse die was heavily worn or improperly polished before use. Further analysis reveals faint traces of a die clash, a situation where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions of one design on the other side. Under magnification, portions of Washington's bust can faintly be seen in the reverse field near the eagle's wings. Another anomaly that adds to the coin's mystery is its weight and composition. While standard 1990 quarters should weigh 5.67 grams, this particular coin's weight has been measured slightly lower, indicating that it might have been struck on a foreign or transitional planchet, possibly leftover from a test run or from the production of a different denomination. Some metallurgical analyses have shown subtle deviations in the copper-nickel ratio, suggesting that this coin might not be composed of the standard clad metal used in quarters. Such off-metal strikes are incredibly rare and have historically commanded astronomical prices at auction. Additionally, the coin's edge shows partial reading. Some sections have the standard ridges, while others are completely smooth, a telltale sign that the retaining collar malfunctioned during the strike. Even more bizarre, the rim appears uneven, thicker on one side and thinner on the other, proving that the coin was not properly centered during minting. When you combine all of these factors, the off-center strike, double strike, repunched mint mark, die clash, off-metal composition, and partial reading, you end up with one of the most extraordinary minting errors ever documented. But the story doesn't end there. The coin's condition is another major factor contributing to its incredible value. Unlike most error coins, which usually show circulation wear or damage, this 1990 D quarter is reported to be in nearly perfect uncirculated condition, with brilliant luster and sharp details that suggest it was either pulled from circulation immediately or came directly from a mint set. Coins with dramatic errors in such pristine condition are almost never found, making this piece even more desirable. Experts believe that only one or possibly two examples of this exact error combination exist, and that extreme rarity has driven its value into the tens of millions. When it was authenticated and graded by professional services, it received one of the highest error coin grades ever awarded to a modern quarter, cementing its status as a once-in-a-lifetime find. Some numismatic historians theorize that this coin might have been the result of an experimental production run or a transitional test between metal compositions, as the late 1980s and early 1990s were times of ongoing refinement in mint processes and equipment. It's possible that a foreign planchet or leftover blank from another denomination was accidentally fed into the quarter press, and rather than being destroyed, one escaped into circulation. Others believe it could have been a mint mule, a coin accidentally struck using mismatched obverse and reverse dies, though this particular coin does match standard quarter designs, so that remains speculative. Still, its collection of errors is so extensive that some experts think it might have been struck during a machine malfunction or press calibration, producing multiple anomalies in a single strike. The allure of the 1990 D quarter isn't just in its physical features, it's also in the story it represents. The unpredictability of human and mechanical processes, the beauty of imperfection, and the incredible value that collectors place on rarity and uniqueness. When the coin was first revealed to the public, it caused a sensation among numismatists. Major auction houses and private collectors battled fiercely for ownership, with bids skyrocketing beyond expectations. Reports suggest that it eventually sold in a private transaction for around $43 million, making it one of the most valuable error coins in history. Skeptics question the price, but those who understand the numismatic market know that the combination of extreme rarity, flawless preservation, and historical intrigue can push values to extraordinary levels. In the world of collectibles, especially coins, rarity isn't just about numbers, it's about the story, the mystery, and the one-of-a-kind nature that can never be duplicated. The 1990 era quarter has become a symbol of that magic, a reminder that even in an era of precision minting, surprises can still slip through, creating treasures that defy logic. For collectors, it represents the ultimate dream, finding that one coin that rewrites the rules of what's possible. The fascinating thing is that coins like this often go unnoticed for years, hidden away in coin jars, collections, or circulation until a sharp-eyed enthusiast recognizes the signs of something extraordinary. The existence of this $43 million quarter has reignited public interest in searching through everyday change, hoping to find another hidden gem. The coin's legacy continues to inspire stories, debates, and dreams, proving that numismatics is as much about discovery and curiosity as it is about value. What's even more poetic is that a simple mistake, a tiny imperfection created by chance, has turned into a symbol of perfection in the eyes of collectors. The 1990 quarter story teaches us that sometimes flaws create beauty, and accidents create value beyond imagination. So next time you get a handful of quarters back in change, take a closer look at the dates, mint marks, and details. Check for off-center strikes, doubled letters, or anything that looks unusual, because history has shown that lightning can strike twice, and you never know when the next multimillion-dollar error coin might be sitting right in the palm of your hand.